Salute, salute, salute. This is HadukenSharon, and we are back with another video. Tonight, we are going to be talking about the New York Knicks Rumor Mill. As you can see on my screen to the right, we have a tweet from Legion Hoops saying the Lakers and Knicks are among the teams interested in trading for Ben Simmons via The Athletic. If you didn't know, Shams, he works with The Athletic, and he released this statement. And it goes to show a lot of people are starting to turn their heads against Julius Randle because of the way he's been playing so far this year. They are thinking that he's playing more like his 2019 version, and you can really make an argument for that. But a lot of people are wanting to ship him off for Ben Simmons. Of course, if you are that fan or if you aren't, you still have to wait until February 3rd. If you ask why, it's because Julius Randle just signed his extension in the summer, the offseason. So you have to wait until February 3rd so you can offer him up for a trade. I personally don't want to do this. I don't know. I'm kind of iffy on this deal. It really depends on which way the team is going because you got to look at it from both ways. Ben Simmons, as a talent, is an amazing passer, amazing playmaker. He could really set you up as a great point guard. And then you look at the defensive end, he's an elite defender, one of the best defenders in the league. And he's still 25 years old. The thing that I question the most, and a lot of people question the most, especially since he came out of college, was his mentality. That's the thing that bothers me. I don't know if he has that competitiveness, if he really has that great mentality that you will want on the team. But I do think that it's an interesting trait to think about later on if you're the Knicks, depending on what position you are in the standings or the way Randall is playing. You really got to look at other types of trade rumors. I hope Leon Rose and the front office pick up their phones. They make calls. December 15th, 20% more of the NBA's players will be able to be traded. It goes from 65 to 85. And at this point, you look at the position of the team. If you're Leon Rose, you don't know if he's going to be in the hot seat. It really depends. He hasn't really done too much for us. Once it hits February, it will be 3 years since Leon Rose's regime, and we really got to see what position we're at. I truly think that he's been a disappointment. He hasn't really done much to show me anything. He hasn't done anything crazy so far. Like, the best deal he has made was a simple deal of trading DSJ and I think a second round pick or a first round pick, I don't remember correctly, for Derrick Rose, who changed up our season last year. If we can make that type of trade again this season before the deadline to change up our team and the way we play, we have to do it. They really got to be on calls. I think this roster needs a shift. It needs someone. We need a wing, supposedly a wing that could play defense and could shoot threes occasionally. I've said this so many times before, and I got a lot of negativity for this, but I was not a big fan of Evan Fournier. Still not a big fan of him, but you see him right now. He's looking like a disappointment. A lot of people now, because of Grimes' last game, they're like, "Oh, give Grimes minutes instead of Evan." I kind of agree to a certain extent. You should take away some of Evan's minutes and give Grimes some minutes. And I'm not even the biggest fan of Grimes either. You should probably do that because we're paying Fournier 18 to 20 mil, and this is what he's doing. He's playing this bad. I will say that at the same time, I don't think the system perfectly fits Fournier. I think he needs to be more in a contender type of situation, but at the same time, he overthinks too much. His shot IQ isn't the best, and he's just hesitating way too much when he plays. But let me get back on track to the trading thing. But that does kind of have to do with it because Evan Fournier will be able to be traded on December 15th. And I do think we might glance at some trade offers for him. I personally want to trade him. Personally, I would like to trade him. I want to find a trade situation that may take him and his contract and get something good in return, but that's up to the front office. This is where the politics come in hand because we saw this last year. We don't know if Tibbs wanted to draft Obi, and we're pretty clear that the front office did. So you look at Evan Fournier, they just signed him on a 3+1 contract. So if they bench Fournier for Grimes, or if they trade Fournier not even half a season into this Knicks season, then I do think they will just look at themselves and be like, "Oh, we failed. We made a failure with signing him and this whole entire offseason." But I really don't think that they will do this, because I don't think they like having a bad image upon themselves. And then you look at supposed trades that we can't have, like Myles Turner. Like, I read, and I'm going to show you right now another tweet that they released. The Atlanta Hawks are believed to be open to trading Cam Reddish for a first-round pick via The Athletic, which is Shams once again. I said this last year, coming out the draft as well in 2019. I was a big fan of Cam Reddish, and I instantly knew the Hawks were not going to be a good spot for him. I will say this, though, because he has been a little injury prone to a certain extent, and his field goal percentage hasn't been the best, but I personally would try to trade for Cam Reddish. I was pushing for this last season. I was pushing for this during the offseason. I really think that he would be great for a 2 or 3, whatever you want to play him at. You could play him right next to RJ. I would think that would be a perfect fit, especially because they have communication with each other. They have chemistry. I think it would be perfect. I have a trade scenario right here. Guys, let me know how you feel about it. So this is the trade that I have came up with. The New York Knicks receive Cam Reddish, and the Atlanta Hawks get Kevin Knox and Charlotte Hornets first-round pick protected from next year. I really think that this will help the Knicks. The Hawks, they get themselves a first-round pick. They get themselves Kevin Knox, who is still young. He's 22 years old. He's not injury-prone. He can shoot for them, and that's kind of what they need. They need shooters, so you could have him as a shooter, spot-up shooter. And he's also very athletic at the same time, so I do think it will be fine with them. If they really want to, you can replace that Kevin Knox with a Quentin Grimes, but I don't think a lot of people will be a fan of that. So I do think this is like the best scenario you could really do for the Hawks. I really do think this is the best situation for them. I really like what Cam Reddish has on the table. He's still 21 years old, if I'm not mistaken. Might just have turned 22, but he's still 21. He has a lot of potential. I still believe in him. I don't know why people would give up on him, because he's still young. He hasn't really had the opportunity. In my opinion, I think another reason they're really trying to trade him right now is because they know in the offseason that he's most likely not going to stay. Just think to yourself, if you're Cam Reddish and you're on the Hawks, who are stacked with people at his position, you would most likely want to leave, because you're not going to be able to reach your full-on potential on that team. And I think on the Knicks, he could do that. I really do. I think this would be a good spot for him. I hope Leon Rose picks up the phone, tries his best to get him, because we have picks. I definitely think we can make it happen. If it's not this trade that I'm showing right over here, be another trade, but we probably don't have to trade that much for him. But I do think Cam Reddish will be moved, because they also have to pay DeAndre Hunter in the offseason. So that's just one move. Then we look over to the Myles Turner situation. I thought about this for a decent amount. I was kind of trying to think of trade scenarios. And between the Indiana Pacers and the New York Knicks, I definitely think we're going to get a trade done. I feel like we're going to push hard to get Myles Turner. There's definitely a few different teams that could do so. You look at the Grizzlies, who have a lot of young talent, and they might be missing that stretch big. But Jaren Jackson Jr. has been doing really well, especially with Ja Morant out. So I don't know if they will push for that. But then you look at the Warriors, who is probably the #1 team that has the most assets. They most likely could get done almost any single trade. For a guy like Myles Turner, they have a good amount they can give. But this right here is just a trade proposal that I have that I would like to do. I'm a big fan of Mitchell Robinson. I've been a fan of him since we drafted him. But I do think that Myles Turner, with his current team we have, will excel in our offense and just spacing-wise. I obviously don't think Myles Turner is gonna help us win every single game, or he's like this crazy big game changer, but I do think he's a guy that will open up the floor for a lot of guys. You see, there's certain scenarios you can't run the pick and roll with Mitch too much. The 4 and 5, you want Randall to roll. He doesn't roll too much, but now when you have someone like Myles Turner, him and Randall and Myles Turner can actually do the pick and roll now. They can do it because Myles Turner is pretty good in the pick and roll. He's getting better around the basket. He's been getting better around the basket. He shoots threes. He has his stretches where he hits a lot of threes, and then he may go on a little stretch of not shooting the best, but I will take Myles Turner over what we have right now. I think Noel and Mitch are just very limited at this point. They don't do too much under the basket. Mitch does it a decent amount. I still love Mitch, but he does it a decent amount. Noel drops donuts almost every other game. He's not a scorer in the paint. Just gets you rebounds, plays defense. But you look at Noel, you pass him an alley-oop or you pass the ball to him, he has brick hands. He cannot catch the ball. You know how frustrating that is as a Knicks fan? He cannot catch the ball. So that's just one factor into this. We're trading Mitchell Robinson, Kemba Walker, Kevin Knox, 2022 New York Knicks first round pick, and a 2023 New York Knicks second round pick. I think this will be I think a good offer. I don't know. It really depends on what's on the table by other teams, because we right now with this current situation don't know the trade offers. It's a little early on. We'll wait till trade deadline starts to come up. December 15th in 2 days. There's going to be a lot of trade rumors surrounding the Knicks and surrounding all the teams in the NBA. So we'll definitely make more videos about that. But so far from what we know right now, the money basically matches. Mitchell Robinson makes $2 million, about Kemba basically 9, Kevin Knox like 8 to 9. So that right there for you is like 20 mil. And then the thing that I want us to get back, obviously Myles Turner. And then Torrey Craig. Torrey Craig makes like 4 million, 5 million. So that's like 23 in all. And me in general, I feel like, especially with Tibbs, Torrey Craig is a great, when I say great, I mean a great veteran to come in for Tibbs. Plays defense, hard-nosed defense. He could come off the bench for you. Play defense. He shoots threes. He shoots threes a decent amount. Can make it a good amount as well. He's not really there to score, but he's there to hustle, rebound, be a good vet for your young guys, just your team overall. He could probably be a voice in some sort of way, because there's a lot of talk about us not having a lot of leadership. And I don't know, I just feel like he would be good coming off the bench for us. I feel like he would be a great vet coming off the bench. I didn't put up a trade scenario for this, but look at the Spurs. The Spurs, they came out with Thaddeus Young. He said that he's not happy with his role on the current team because he's not getting minutes, but it's because Pop is going young right now. And I would love to trade for Thaddeus Young. I don't know if it happens, though. He might get bought out and go to a contender, but like guys like Torrey Craig, I like a guy like Torrey Craig. When he got bought out, I wanted to pick him up, but we didn't get the chance to do so because the Pacers got him. So I really do think Myles Turner and Torrey Craig will help out our team. And then when you look at the Pacers side of the trade, they get themselves some draft capital. 2022 New York Knicks first round pick, which is potentially going to be most likely like a top 20 pick, something like that. Mitchell Robinson is still young. He's 23, I'm pretty sure, about to be 23. Kemba Walker is just there for salary. And then Kevin Knox, especially with TJ Warren going out with injury, he's still out indefinitely, and he's been out for a while. Kevin Knox would be perfectly fit for the Pacers, especially since they want to go young. Mitch and Kevin Knox are both 23 and younger. That's the perfect scenario for the Pacers, who are going on full rebuild according to Shams. And I do think that will be a great scenario for them. That's basically it for these trade talks, but then there's other guys that I'm not going to show trade scenarios for, that I'm just going to bring up that I hope we try to attack for. So let's say we don't get Myles Turner, goes to another team. One guy that I wanted to get last season, and he just been going off this season, he's been doing really well, is Jonas Valanciunas. He's on the New Orleans Pelicans. He's been doing great, shooting from three very well. He plays so so good in the paint, gets a lot of rebounds, double-double machine, and he's a real threat at the center position. They just paid him 20 mil per year for the next 2 years, and I really hope there's some way we could trade for him. I really do. I really like Valanciunas last year on the Memphis Grizzlies team that beat the Warriors in the play-in. He was their second best player. At some points, he was the number one player because he was averaging 18 and 12 on that Memphis team. I do think he would be a big help for us to get to. Other guys that I would like to look at as well, but I think this is unlikely, is a wing like Lou Dort. Look at Lou Dort. I love Lou Dort's game. Big fan of him. I want to see him play for us at that 2 or 3. I'll give up a first round pick. Maybe, I don't know if I'll give 2, but I'll give at least a first round pick for him and a young guy. Because I really like Lou Dort. I'd love to pair him up right next to RJ in that starting lineup. And then we could run whoever at the PG. And then you got RJ and you got Lou Dort as your defensive wings. And then this helps out a lot with RJ as well. Because now he doesn't have to run around everywhere and guard every single player on the court. These are the type of moves I hope we try to make. But all I'm telling you, Leon Rose, if you're listening, please do something because you've been a disappointment. Pick up the phone. Be active in the trade market. Don't do any desperate moves because you think everything's going downhill. Because the Knicks regime and front office in general and owner, James Dolan, they go into desperate situations and make stupid trades. So please do not do so. But with that being said, Ben Simmons, we still got to wait for that. There's a lot of teams interested in him. Timberwolves, Lakers, Knicks, Kings, a lot of teams. Blazers, there's so many teams available for him. I don't really think that he's going to come here. But you really got to wait because Randall is probably going to be the guy that gets traded in that scenario because Daryl Morey says he wants a top 25 player. That's the only top 25 player on our roster. So, yeah, that's basically it. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's going to be like about 18, 17 minutes. But, no, I just wanted to get my thoughts across. I appreciate you guys for watching. Smash that like button for your boy. Subscribe if you haven't already. We've been doing really good recently, getting more subs, getting a lot more interaction. So make sure to subscribe if you haven't. And most importantly, turn that notification bell on. Turn it on. Put it on all because a lot of people miss out on it. And share if you haven't as well to other people, your friends, your family. Knicks fans, you may know other fans and other teams. We're going to be doing a lot more things regarding other NBA teams. So I definitely appreciate it. And I hope you guys have a blessed night. Peace.